Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you all for being here today. Once again, I welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living. I've kind of dressed down a little bit. We're talking about success and happiness. We have been following the Science of Mind textbook as it is presented by our founder, Ernest Holmes. There is a chart of readings, and they're available out in the foyer, that gives a reading, a paragraph, a page, or a meditation out of the Science of Mind textbook that you can then read the textbook over a whole year. So each day we're following along one particular passage. This was put together by Dr. Edward Viejo up at the Santa Rosa Center, and it's now in the newest editions of the Science of Mind textbook. It's actually printed in there, but we have copies. So if you want to go along with us on this journey of reading the Science of Mind textbook, it's a way in which you can do that. Because if you just sat it down and tried to read it from cover to cover, as I say oftentimes, it would probably drive you insane. It's really a coordination of a number of lectures that Ernest Holmes had been given as he traveled around the country in the early 1920s. And it was, some of the transcriptions were done by a young man, Reginald Armour, who later on lived next door to Ernest Holmes. And his daughter, Dr. Marilyn Leo, grew up next door to Ernest Holmes and used to, play in his yard and in his house and knew him quite well. And she's now a retired minister in the Center for Spiritual Living. She's responsible for the archives of our history of our organization and who we are and where we're going. And so this last Monday, she lives in Northern California, she had come down with a small team because they wanted to do a video of a gentleman who used to play the music for Ernest Holmes. And he lives here in Rancho Mirage, and he's somewhat mature also. But they came in here on Monday. He played the piano beautifully, and they were able to interview him and videotape this to put it into the archives. And so it was really kind of a special treat to have this individual here. And one of the stories that he wanted to share was when he worked with Ernest Holmes, he would come into what was the headquarters in Los Angeles at the time, and Ernest was always writing. He has so many things written. We haven't even unveiled them or revealed all of them. Some of them are still in boxes now in Golden, Colorado. But he had a book of poetry that he wrote, and this gentleman, Richard Froberg, would come in and he would sit down and read the poems that Ernest had written. And then he would show up on Sunday when Ernest would do his lecture, or he would show up at the summer conference at Asilomar, and he would play a song and sing it. And then Ernest would come up to do his message afterwards, and he'd look at him and he'd say, "That was really beautiful. Who wrote that?" And Richard would smile and he'd say, "We did." He told us that story about 6 times. And each time it was new to him, and he got really excited about that, and it was just a joy to see that and participate in that adventure. So there is history, there is tradition that goes on within our organization. And I've been thinking a lot about it this week as we are moving through another transformation of what we know as the Center for Spiritual Living in Palm Springs. Our charter has been in Palm Springs for like 56 years. We've been in this building and in this property for 26 years. And we are upgrading, transforming, moving this into a new experience. And as I shared last week, I don't know, I know there's a couple of us that were just thrilled and got overly excited about paving the parking lot. It was just absolutely a divine gift to be able to have that and see how it enhanced the appearance of the facility as we enter into this campus. Now, we know that Science of Mind is about the philosophy. It's about the teaching. It's about the belief. But the facility is the vessel in which we get to share and come together and participate in that. And so whether you're here for a day, a week, a year, or 100 years, this is your spiritual home for the time in which you are here. And you have the opportunity to share in the stewardship of this home and what we do with it. And so we created this campaign in order to raise the $35,000 to do the upgrades that we wanted to do. And it really was your gift. It was your treasure. It was your talent that made that happen. And there's yet more to come. But I would like to take this time to just acknowledge all of you who have participated in the Inspire campaign. So if you gave a contribution to that, could you just stand for a moment? Thank you. You've made that happen, and there's more to come. So imagine somewhere over here and somewhere over here, there's like these huge 55-inch flat screen TVs. So we no longer have to yank down the movie screen behind, that you've got high definition up here for our spiritual cinema, for our workshops, for our classes, for our announcements, for whatever expression of beauty that we want to put out there, that they're going up. Begin to imagine that we've now created surround sound in the sanctuary. So no matter where you are or what the level of your hearing condition might be, you'll have the opportunity to hear the perfection and the beauty of the musics and the sound that we bring forth. Imagine that there's now all of this stuff that kind of like sits in the back of the room, this beautiful sound booth that is created over here that handles all of the equipment and puts it into the mixer that brings it forth so that our recordings always come out, and they always come out with that sound that we want it to be, and that the video is created in a way that we can be proud of who we are as we take this message and we reach out into the world as we support this organization in touching over 100 million lives. You are creating this. You are the ones that are making this happen. And it's unfolding right before your eyes. Each and every day, each and every week, something greater is coming in. And so we're beginning to bring in new artists, musicians, Erica Luckett and Lisa Ferraro are going to be our first